You're listening to Tech Society FM, a podcast about all the facets of technology and society. Twice a week, we deliver in-depth analysis from a technological perspective, giving you our take on things and interviewing people that are doing important things. Now, here's your hosts, Alex Dunmo and John Newen.
And before we get into the episode, do you have a great idea for a software platform or service that could make the world a better place? Then come see Ninja Software and be amazed by how ideas are transformed from prototypes to actual products.
Hey techies, welcome to another episode of Tech Society. Today we've got with us our good friends, Chia and Zion Ong, founders of Perth's own data-driven digital marketing agency, Alyka. Alyka is an award-winning marketing company that excels in using data to help businesses grow. The guys at Alyka are experts at using data to generate deep commercial insights. In this episode, they share with us what it means to be a data-driven company and how it helps with your digital marketing, ways to use data tracking in order to help businesses earn more profit, and finally, why the sales funnel is actually not dead. Let's go.
Hello everyone, I'm Bernie.
Cool. And I'm Zion. All right, nice. And cool. Bernie and Zion of Alyka.
Yeah, cool.
All right, tell us what your story is.
Yeah, cool. I can kick off and you can jump in, Bernie. But yeah, we met in uni, 2006. We touched base again. I think Bernie came to my church and, you know, we hit it off as friends. And then we decided to start a web development company in 2006. And we had full-time jobs then. So we did it on the side, like pretty much in our spare time, we just code sites. Like I had no idea how to code sites. I just kind of learnt. Bernie was better at coding sites because he did a computer science degree or something like that.
Software engineering.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I kept asking him questions. How do I do this? How do I do that? And then eventually we created this company. There was someone else at the time, third person, who moved on after. But so it was the three of us initially, and then later on now just two of us. But yeah, we didn't know what we were doing. I think we just both had a love for business, number one, and also technology.
So what were you guys studying at university?
So I was studying software engineering, major in IT.
Cool.
Yeah. And just a bachelor of business degree, of which I learnt nothing from, to be honest.
So you didn't apply anything from the business degree?
Nah, not me, nah. It wasn't relevant. But
I think the best thing is all those connections you made during uni days.
A
lot of those guys set up their own businesses and you connect with them in the future, and even some of them actually end up working for us at some stage as well as a developer. Yeah. So it's more of like connecting people back in the days.
Where is Alyka now? Actually, were you called Alyka back then? Is that your first and only name?
That's a very good question. So back in those days, 2006, we weren't very creative. So we were looking at words beyond the English dictionary, and then we stumbled on a word that means smart in another language, in Czechoslovakian Finnish. So that's what Alyka stands for, smart.
Very cool.
But funny story, back in those days, if you do Google Alyka, you get a porn star. And we've got to optimize above this porn star within the first 3 to 6 months.
Did you manage it? That's a crazy challenge.
We did. I think the porn star ceased existing, actually. That sounds really dark. But I think she stopped. I think she stopped being a porn star or something.
Oh, okay.
So that, coupled with our SEO efforts, made us number one.
So made you very good at SEO as well.
So porn stars made us good at SEO. Yeah.
She was probably pretty happy too, I guess. she actually left the industry. So.
I think so. I'm hoping she did.
So where is Alyka now after that humble beginning?
Yeah, so long time ago we started with website, and there's a need for that in the early days, and we migrated towards after building very successful websites. It's all about bringing the right customers in, and that's when we do a lot of digital marketing. And since doing that and sort of conquering that area, we move on to data, CRM, and making use of people's databases. So where we are today is we combine the web, the digital marketing, the CRM, the data, and we call this the playbook. So that's pretty much where we're sitting at in terms of our offerings, and the big point of differentiation as well with our competitors.
Yeah, I think on what Bernie said, like years ago, many years ago, we were doing many things similar to other agencies. So people would want marketing, digital marketing, and they'd come to us and they'd, I want to build a website, or I want to do some SEO, I want to get some leads doing some Google ads or whatever. And we would do it, and we would do it well, but we were doing, a lot of what we were doing was similar to what other agencies would be doing. So I would say now, like what Bernie said, like we are so data driven. It's crazy. And that's a buzzword and everyone says it, but we're committed to it. And man, like we follow people around, we track what they're doing. We make decisions based on that kind of data. We know if if somebody made a sale, and we know what ad contributed to that happening. Like we know the specific ad, the specific time, the whole journey that he took to get the sale. So that kind of stuff is crazy. So really in a nutshell, helping businesses grow by using data-driven decision-making. That's really what we're doing. And that is very different from how we were when we first started.
So I know you kind of explained it, but what is being data-driven?
Well, for me, it's making marketing decisions based on data, right? And yes, you still need to make decisions based on gut feel, but I feel that the problem that we have now in the world is that it's too easy to make decisions based on solely gut feel. Like people don't have the toolkit or the diligence to actually use data to make decisions. So yes, you need data-driven decision making, but people don't have the tool set for data-driven. So what we do is we provide that toolkit and that philosophy and that framework to actually make decisions based on data-driven. And it actually starts with setting goals, setting very clear what we call SMART goals, which is, most people know what that is, but you got to be specific with your goals. You got to be measurable. They have to be attainable. They have to be relevant, and they have to be time-bound. And it all starts from there, right? So, yeah.
This is more like strategic marketing versus shotgun marketing, right?
That's right. Yeah. The biggest differentiation is like whenever someone asks us, whether it's a website or SEO, we're going to ask them back, what does this solve in terms of your business problem? All right. A lot of them, when they ask us for digital marketing, they're doing it because other people are doing it or other businesses. But we want to workshop it. We want to understand the overall goals and marry up our activities with those goals. And to do it, you got to understand their data. And most of the time, they don't have it all set up. One of the biggest problem is they have multiple systems, but they can't connect the dots. All right, and therefore they're flying blind. Should I hire a new BDM versus putting 80 grand of their money into SEM, for example?
That's what I like to call black hole marketing, where companies often chuck a monthly fee into marketing, and being able to get actionable information from that is actually pretty hard.
That's right. And that's what we hate. And everyone's doing that. And we want to stray from doing, here's a retainer, here's SEO. That's black hole marketing, to be honest.
So, and that's more common than not, right?
That's the way it's done. That's the way it's done.
So do you struggle to kind of make it clear that that's not what you do to companies? Do you look the same to them,
I think we still do, to be perfectly honest. And that's why we are rebranding now. Like we're doing the website, the rebranding, the messaging. And we've struggled in the past 6 months to try to get that message across. And we're towards the end of that rebranding exercise. So the answer is absolutely. And it's only until they actually see us and we talk about it that they'll get it. But I think we definitely can do a better job with the branding of it so that there's not so much skepticism up front. But we're at the tail end of that.
It must be easy in some ways, right? Because you probably talk to people who have dumped thousands of dollars into Facebook marketing and gotten absolutely nowhere, and are going, there must be a better way.
Absolutely.
Probably just thinking you're going to tell them to spend 10 times the amount on Facebook marketing, but I assume you don't, right?
Yes and no. Like, it's always about education. Like, a lot of them have been burnt in the past. Why should I spend X dollars again? Then you got to educate them. So to try to mitigate that, we always try to do a workshop. We try to understand, do the strategy piece and all that first. But yeah,
I think the biggest, back on what Bernie said, like that's true. Like the biggest problem I think initially is people just want to quickly jump into things. So they'll be like, this is my problem. I'm not getting enough leads. It's almost always I'm not getting enough leads or sales. Like I can almost predict that. Like, they're going to say that. I'm like, okay, cool. And the next thing they want from you is just a quote. how are you going to fix that? Like, and they're just expecting this
That's what I would
Facebook
want.
ads quote.
Yeah.
And that's understandable. That's what I want with every supplier
Yeah.
because I don't understand the industry, whether it's leasing, whether it's, photocopy machine,
I don't want
whatever.
to. Just
Yeah.
like
Just fix
make
it.
me happy.
Give me a quote. I want a quote. And if they don't give me a quote and they're like, well, let's do a strategy workshop, I'll get mad. So it's understandable that our prospects and our clients will get mad if we don't just give them a quote. So the biggest challenge I find, not sure about you, Bernie, but I find that just getting them to understand that they have to take a step back and they have to spend the time doing the workshop, talking about the business goals, the problems in detail before we can even talk about the solution, before we can even quote. That's the biggest challenge. But the clients that actually we've been able to convince that, hey, this is the way to go, do the workshop piece first, do the strategy, pay for it, and then we can go into execution. They have gotten a far better result than if they just launched into it.
I assume you use the same data-driven techniques to find your clients, right? So,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So like eat your own dog food. kind of thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, we know the kind of clients that we work best with over the years, and which ones we produce the best cost per acquisition or cost per sale, and based on that data, right, we target them back, pretty much. And
Yeah. So
and we know, and based on that, there's various industries that we do extremely well, and there's some that's a little bit more harder, but it's still workable. And we have our own qualification process. So based on our own data that we collect, right, we're more specific and targeted based on the clients that we get.
And a simple example of that is, okay, we've got a CRM. So because we have everything tracking really well, we know a lot of things, relevant things. So for example, I can go into our CRM. We've done this. We went into our CRM. This is about 2 years ago, and we worked out, okay, which clients are paying us the most money, and we're earning the most profit from. Let's just get a filter import. Let's get data on that, and it was very easy to get that data. We had a report. Went, okay, local government, corporate companies of this size, blah 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 blah. Engineering companies are a good one. Home builders, blah 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 blah. And so from that data tracking and from that piece of it, we just know, okay, and we were able to then go, okay, for this year, we're going to focus on X, Y, Z. So that's a very simplified, example of what you're asking. And it goes into more detail, like where are the leads coming from? Are those leads good? Because on the outset, you might look at your data and go, we're getting a lot of leads from Google Ads. Wow. But then you go deeper and you're like, these leads are actually not converting, or they have converted, but let's have a look at the sales. They're not, the lifetime value of those kind of clients are just not good. So let's not spend so much money on Google Ads. So yeah, it can go quite deep, and we do all that for ourselves. Yeah.
Do you find that digital marketing is experiencing a kind of confusing time where the old strategies are not working and people don't really understand the new strategies, and then they're being confused by social media advertising, of which there's so many now, and influencer advertising.
Absolutely.
And there's this massive ecosystem of honestly scams where they take your money.
Absolutely.
And you get very little in return, right?
You answer this one.
That's why I reckon when we talk about digital marketing, is the strategic planning side is so important because there's so much noise out there. There's so much disruption. And you just talk about SEO by itself, the way it's changing its algorithm, is that the way to go or not the way to go? We got all these new social media platforms coming on board. And should we advertise on those platforms? And then even if you pick one of those platforms like Facebook, and you look at Facebook Business Manager, the way that platform is also changing as well, the way you target individuals using lookalike audience or whatever, right? You need skill sets in that as well. And you can't just put all your advertising into one channel these days. It's got to be multi-channel as well. So you're dealing with picking the right channel, picking multiple channels, and people utilizing the phone or the desktop to see your ads. There's so many different variables in it that you can't just, pick one channel, whatever. You need strategy behind it. You need to understand what your customers are looking at. You need to understand what kind of ads they respond well to. And that's why what Zion was saying, the strategy and the workshop is so fundamental to create the right solution, and it's got to be married to their business goals. And that's where every client that we have, the solution is different. There's no cookie cutter approach to digital marketing these days.
Yeah, that's right. So, like you guys have come a long way since 2006. What's the like top 3 either moments or changes you guys made that have given you the success you've got now?
I think definitely one of them is when we migrated from web to digital to the CRM side and be able to capture all these services into what we call the playbook and solving real business problems as a real point of difference. And
solving your own, I assume.
And ours as well.
Yeah.
That's huge. That's it's like a milestone. Okay, that's just one of the milestones. Another event that was really beneficial for us is that talking about Malaysia, talking about having a team there as well.
Yeah.
That we cross cultures. That also benefited us a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, so there's a team in Malaysia. I wasn't aware of that. That's cool.
Yeah.
Has that been around? When was that?
There's 1 million people in that team. No, I'm joking. Since 2013?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
7 years, 8 years. Yeah.
Does that service the whole Southeast Asian region or just Malaysia?
Well, that we use them for a lot of the admin work, but we've also got some clients there now. Which is
excellent.
Really cool.
Yeah, cool.
Big clients too. So, yeah, for both. Yeah.
Wow, so you guys are actually
international,
selling to Southeast Asia then?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean,
how's that journey gone?
That's what Zion was saying. The early days was all about training and making sure the team works with the Australian way of doing work, the language barriers, and it takes time. You can't do it in the first year. So it took us a few years to get it right before we start adding a lot more staff on. And it started with simple testing, population kind of work, and then it soon became more programming, more digital marketing tasks. And then eventually, after 5-6 years, we started to get famous. Big clients like Petronas. We're doing some work for those guys.
Oh, cool!
In Malaysia, that's huge.
Huge, yeah.
They're top
Amazing.
10 company in terms of revenue for the country. There's going to be more work coming out of that. It definitely means for us it's like we're looking at talent pool beyond Australia.
Does that mean you had to be a bit hands off, or did you actually fly to Malaysia just constantly?
Yeah.
We flew there, but Bernie was more involved from the start. So him and the general manager would fly there. Now we don't have to. Well, we can't fly there. Yeah. But we don't have. We hadn't had to.
Lots of quarantine.
Can't come back.
It's only 2 weeks.
The general manager is more involved, so it's really good. And hats off to the guys for doing that. But and on that note, I think creating a leadership team was a big stepping stone. Something that Bernie was pushing from. I remember when he first talked to me about it, and I was like, oh yeah, we really need to do this years ago. And we had a few cracks at creating a leadership team, so it's not just me and him, because we were doing everything from selling to project managing to Bernie was even trying to design sites. I was trying to code, and I'm crap at coding. And we were trying to do everything, and then we're cleaning the toilets as well, taking phone calls, making coffees for clients. It's just too much.
So how long was it? How many years were you doing that before you were just thinking to yourself, maybe we shouldn't be, doing all of these things? I
reckon the first 2 years we were doing literally everything.
When was your first hire?
Yeah.
I reckon 2009.
So 3 years. So you guys went 3 years without bringing on anyone new?
But from 2006 to 2008, we were still working our full-time jobs.
Oh, wow. So just like side hustle.
Small side hustle.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So what was the moment where you guys went, well, time to quit and focus on?
So the story was officially in middle of 2008. That's when I started going full time. Risk a safe job. Just got married as well. Downgraded my salary, and it was tough. It was just hustling every single job, and that was when exactly what Zion was saying. I had to design, had to sell, have to build, populate, chase for the money, right? Everything.
Yeah.
And then
coffees, toilets.
Toilets.
Oh, yeah.
And then Zion joined me a year after in 2007 or 9.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. You're 08. I was 09.
08,
yeah.
09. Wow. And then our third partner joined it straight after that. And then even towards the end of 2009, we were starting to have developers joining us like on a part-time basis. It's only 2010, which we picked up tenders. We started to have build our government division. We have project managers. That's where our GM joined us around that time. But started off as project management first, with the big clients.
Was that hard to take a step back from that? Trust someone else?
Ooh, it's a hard.
Yeah, it is, because we had full control over the client, the quality, the client communications, and so it was very hard. But you got to do it.
It's really hard to let go when you know you can do it faster and
faster, better.
Other people.
Totally get that.
Faster, better, cheaper. In the short term, anyway.
I guess the biggest thing I've learned is that no one's perfect. If they can do 80% or even 60% of what you do, that's a big win as well. And you allow them to fail in tasks that are not mission critical. You pick them up. You can pick them up on failures that you can help solve quickly. That it's not going to cost you a bucket of low money, or it's not going to be a reputation damage. Those are the two kind of criteria for me. But going back to what you were asking for in terms of the senior management team, and when we started doing that, and there was a big moment as well. I reckon that's around 2012-13 as well, when we had about 10 to 15 staff, and we can't micromanage each individual anymore. And that was when, again, I was mentioning about the Englishman that joined us. I trained him how to do CSS and slicing really well, and he's very good at that. We needed someone in between to manage the team or manage the website division or digital marketing division. We had a crack of setting up this senior management team, and it took years to get it right.
The first crack didn't go so well because we had the wrong people, and it was too immature, but we kept going, and then we eventually got the right team. The other thing that was really important to your question is focus. So me and Bernie, it was survival mode. As soon as we walked in, we were both, just got married, new mortgages, babies on the way. So we're just in survival mode. We're like, we've got to get clients on. We've got to get the money coming in.
Do you reckon being married and just about to have kids gave you guys that hunger that
I think so?
Like there was just no other options, right?
Yeah, pretty much. You can't not make it work. That was our attitude. It was just survival, and so I think it was a good thing. But I think a big learning point was focus. Like, it was so easy for me and Bernie to just want to do everything and then get distracted and then try this and then jump to that and not kind of focusing on like one or two things for the quarter. And so a big moment was 2015 when we created a board. Who Derek Gerard, I don't know if you know him, but he's a big tech guy in Perth. Yeah, so he joined the board. That was instrumental, and one of his things was focus. Is like, okay, you got one goal for the year, and we're going to have quarterly smaller goals, but each quarter you're only allowed, I can't remember how much it is, but you're only allowed like to do three things for the quarter. Any more than that's too much, and it's true, and that's kept us on par. So I think that's been a massive thing for us as well. Otherwise, we're just ADHD.
Well, then chasing the new shiny, right?
Yeah, the new shiny thing.
And
used to do.
And the thing with me is we're different and similar in a lot of different ways. But in terms of similarity, we're both, like what you say, we chase shiny things. We're very energetic. And
I think most entrepreneurs do, right? I think.
Yeah,
like,
it's so easy to go nuts over the wrong direction and waste so much time. And I'm like, why am I doing this? What? And Derek just say, you know what, stop doing that. Focus on one thing this quarter. And even more, one thing per director or per person allocated to it. Otherwise, it's too many. And just do it well, Just do research and execute it and report back. Do nothing else.
So to recap, the three things that kind of got you to where you are now: Malaysia, and focus. What's the third?
Okay, so
senior leadership is
leadership.
I would say Malaysia's. I wouldn't say that's a key ingredient. I would, if it was up to me, I'd put the senior leadership, the focus, and what was the other one?
The playbook.
Yeah, sorry.
You
did say the playbook.
Because the playbook's pretty much,
that's when everything changed for you guys, right?
Yeah, it's a big differentiation and a big gap in the marketplace.
Have you actually gotten a...
Is that an actual book?
Yeah, do you have an actual physical...
We're going to create one. I'm creating one. I'm creating it. That's part of the rebrand. So for now, it's having to explain to people
But one day you're just going to drop this big, heavy,
Oh, it'll be a book,
cover
yeah.
book.
And people have got
Yes,
to enter
yeah.
their data
Nice.
in order to download it. It'll be a free ebook. Enter your data to get it.
Cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
It'll be a thing.
I
Yeah.
definitely want to see that hard
Yeah.
copy.
Hardcover as well. Yeah.
Yeah,
I thought
yeah.
you said
It's gonna be digital and hard at the same time. Yeah.
I want it to look like one of those real classic Bibles. You know, just like,
I'll just thump it on your desk. And it's
yeah. Oh, it has to have real when you drop it. Yeah.
data-driven playbook. So it's going to be the data-driven.
It's gonna be
playbook.
solid.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. And the last one, which I think is underrated, which might even be the most important thing, is actually selling. One thing that me and Bernie did really well from the start was focusing on sales, which I think most startups probably don't do, which is why what is it, 89% of them fail in the first year, whatever the stat is, because they're focusing too much on the product and sometimes on the shiny technology.
Yep.
Whereas you have to get customers in, you have to get the money coming in.
And you have to sell yourself, right? That's really
Yeah.
a lot of people find that really difficult.
Most people, and I always tell people when I'm sharing about business stuff or whatever, and they ask that question, what are the main things to succeed? I always say, well, go learn how to sell. Like, go read books on selling. Go listen to YouTube, or go try selling, because you just need the money to come in. Then you can work out the other things. Yeah.
What's your favorite books on selling then?
Oh, there's a lot.
So I think there's the one by the HubSpot guys, right? I read that recently.
HubSpot material is really good because
Is it?
I've read so many. Don't read the Tom Hopkins one. Because there's a lot of old school sales techniques, and they tell you, like, the Tom Hopkins one's about getting people to say yes, and the more they say yes, then it's closer to a sign off, which I think is terrible because people get buyer's remorse and then they hate you for it. So I think getting no's. Okay, I'll tell you a really good book from me, and I'll let you guys share, and Bernie. The Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss, who is an ex-FBI negotiator. That's one of the best sales books ever, and it's not even a sales book. I've read heaps of them, but that one at the moment is my top book.
That's
So,
cool.
yeah, awesome
Never
book.
Split the Difference.
Yeah, I think the one that I look at, it's when you talk about selling, it's all about moving opinions. All right, you may not. It's rather than to get more customers, you got to sell, but if you want to, get a girlfriend, you need to somehow convince her that you are super attractive and everything you say, that she should love you.
I thought you just neg her, but okay.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah. So basically, I think the book is called Never Eat Alone.
Never Eat Alone. That's cool.
Yeah.
So that's I think that's the one. I've read so many different other books as well.
Yeah.
But
I think it is.
It's always about like creating levers and ways to where they're just convinced that we're on a pay rise, or you are the one that they're gonna marry, or whatever it is, right? You're selling yourself to people, and it is such an essential skill.
Yep.
And as a startup, you just need to be able to sell yourself. In every capacity. One of the things that we did in the early days is not just about selling directly to customers, but I apply that skill in also getting more partners involved. It's all about getting all these advocates around you. You're essentially duplicating yourself or triplicating yourself, and you're not working anywhere near as hard. And it's an art of convincing other people and moving their thoughts and getting them to like you and stay on top of your radar.
So did you
That's
do that
very
to Zion
important.
in the early days? Or was it
You wouldn't know.
Well, Bernie,
Yeah.
Bernie's talking about like selling, like getting other people to sell for you, which actually helped. Like, that philosophy that we had from the start helped us to grow really fast.
Yep.
Whether it's like, we'd have incentive programs, commission or whatever, or we pay them back in other ways. But that whole philosophy around, yes, we're going to sell, but we have partners around us that are also selling for us.
It's like channel
it's tremendous. Yeah, the channel partners. It's really good.
That seems like a harder sell than actually to a client, right?
Yeah, because it takes time to build that relationship.
Yep. Yeah.
They need to trust your work.
Yep.
To refer someone, right, you got to make sure that person does a really, really good job, and and you have to show substance, track record. They also check around your reputation as well with other peers.
Yeah.
And it's really, really hard in the early days. And so, what we did was, we just do them free websites.
Yeah, free work sometimes.
Wow.
Underquote ourselves. Commission is almost like 50-50 almost into those levels, and we didn't care. I was doing it for next to nothing. You're building a reputation for yourself. The number one thing I feel anyway, when you build those relationships, it's all about being reliable. If they know they can rely on you, they're always going to refer. And you're not saying I can do all this stuff and you're going to be late, or it's not going to be exactly what they think it's going to be. That's when your reputation is gone.
Yeah, that's a freaking good point. It's okay. The other thing is just doing what you say, and it's as little as just like you said you were going to send an email on Friday. You better bloody send that email on Friday. Like, we're huge on that. And if you don't send that email on Friday, that person on the other side, whoever it is, comes Saturday, like they're going to be, or Monday morning, they'll be like, he or she didn't send me that. What's that going to say about their delivery? So for me, I don't want to get religious, but the Bible talks about, be faithful in the small things, then I'll give you greater things, right? So if you're not faithful in that little thing, how can you get? So I think from the start, that's what we've been preaching. And hats off to Bernie, he really led that charge. And I think that's a big part of our success. And we try to preach that to our guys, just like, hey, if you're not going to meet up by this date, you need to let them know in advance.
And that's like expectation management, right?
Absolutely.
It's commitment,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that kind of culture, has that been there right from the start, and is it still today?
Yeah.
The binding principles.
We're not perfect. Alyka. People don't always do it, but we get really mad if they don't. It's just
we try our best.
Our best.
Yeah. Of course.
So what I mentioned before, if they can do it 80 to 90% to where we want them to be, that's really, really good. But it's just human errors,
Yeah. Like, it's crazy. Like, Bernie, as busy as he is, it's like the busiest people in Alyka, they're like the most reliable.
Yeah.
And I find in the business world, the busiest people, the most successful business, they're still the most reliable. Like with Bernie, he's got so many things on his plate, yet I know that he will, it's very rare, if at all, he will actually miss a deadline or not communicate to me back about something, which is crazy. But I just think that's so important. It's so important,
Do you get new clients come in the door who go on about the sales funnel, and do you think the sales funnel is dead?
No, not dead. I'll let you talk about that. Not dead at all.
You don't think it's more like a whirlwind these days rather than a funnel?
Whenever we have a prospect, all right, and they are at different stage of their journey, and I look at it where, how well do they first know your business? Are you a brand that they don't know of, or that's one stage of the funnel? Another stage is they know of your brand somehow, or maybe they hear from others. And another further down is they know someone within your brand. They know you do X, Y, Z. They know a little bit more. That still applies. And then going further down, they want to seek a quote from you, and you can do a solution. Why I say this is, depending on their different stage, you engage with them differently. When they don't know about you, right? You can't just sell them your services so hard, all right? Because they're not ready to know you yet. You're compared to everyone else, you're a nobody. So you gotta sell a different part of you to be noticed.
Yeah.
All right. So it's still important to understand the funnel, but every business have a different kind of funnel, if you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, absolutely.
And all their customers have different journeys. You just got to identify it. And it goes back into what we were preaching or at the start, where we do the workshop, the strategy, and understanding your customers and how do they react when they don't know you. How do you reach them if they hardly know you? How do you reach them if they do know you? How do you reach out to them if they are sort of half sold already and they're about to sign off with you? They're all engaged differently to close the deal. And you still got to bring them down that funnel. Okay, so it's not really there. It's just different. You could apply them as individual basis.
Yeah. I mean, are you referring to the specific type of sales funnel? Like the corny internet ones?
Yeah, the classic sales funnel, which I can't...
Awareness,
opportunity,
consideration.
Yeah, it was like you lead the client step by step through the funnel, right? So it's like the 7 stages of the sales cycle.
Super important. Like
it's like awareness, interest, consideration, intent, evaluation, purchase. And I don't think that really exists anymore. I think
Right, it's interesting.
There's like a barrage of information on people these days that
Right.
you've just got to make sure that you're there and you're a trusted voice in that like whirlwind or tornado of information.
I think all it means for me, because I totally get you, it's like when you're chasing a girl or a boy, right? You guys like chasing boys? No, I'm joking. It's like when you're chasing a girl, right, or whatever, a boy. Then it's a process. Like you're not like, if they don't know you, you're not going to go in for the, you're not going to ask them to marry you kind of thing. So like Bernie said, so you got to make them aware of you first. You might just be a face amongst the crowd. So you got to work out a strategy to get them aware of you. You might be at a bar or an event or whatever. How are you going to get them aware? Maybe you talk to your friend to introduce. And then, all right, once they're aware of you, you got to get them to actually consider you as a serious, suitor. And how are you going to do that? What's your strategy around that? So on and so forth. And then what's your closing strategy? If you once you're down the funnel, you get to know each other, you've been on a few dates, or maybe you've courted for a year or 2 years, whatever. At what stage are you going to actually close it?
It's a good analogy though. Exit strategies or not.
Exit strategy, yeah. So that's so for me, it's not as it's really just that but in a business scenario, yeah. And then there's a way to automate the whole process and to make it easier and to systemize it and to scale it, which is where the data comes in and the CRM stuff comes in. So
to give an example of data, right? Like going down the sales funnel, if person X engages on 2 of the email notifications or content marketing pieces, then they will get the third piece. We do that kind of
like dynamic
that's
content delivery.
That's right. We know that they're ready. They move down the funnel for the next bit of information. All right, and that's why we still believe in it to an extent. And also, what goes beyond becoming a customer, we call it in HubSpot terms the delight phase. Where it's all about each of these customers. Not only can you potentially upsell to them, but they have all their peers, their networking, and their friends. What do you do there as well? That's where you can get reviews of them.
It
That's
goes.
A lot of things you can do.
It's huge. It's actually huge. Yeah.
So when you get new customers come in the door, what's the like top 3 mistakes you see that that they've been doing and before speaking to you guys?
Well, for me, it's the what I talked about earlier, which is just jumping in without thinking about strategy or giving us the time to do a proper workshop with them, or not wanting to pay for any of that. It's just, I just want to quote and I just want to go in. So that's number 1. Number 2, like we've all been burnt before by previous suppliers, just having it so skeptical that it's hindering their, progress for the future. And I'll let Bernie talk about the other ones.
So you're saying the 3 mistakes?
Yeah, that they're making like with their digital marketing strategies or their content marketing strategies, are just like stuff that you guys have to come in and help them with.
Fix it up.
Like you look at it and you go, yeah, everyone does this, and
Well, a lot of the times, you look at what our competitors do. They always sell the same thing, and they're selling them the SEO strategy, which is, for example, this one example where it's a long-term strategy, and when we come to fix it, we ask them, what's your main business problem? Or we need opportunities right away. You got the wrong strategy from day one. You got to do something else. Or there are some cases where they feel like they need a new website, and then with getting the right data, we look at analytics, we look at Google Tag Manager. They've got quite a lot of good leads, and the conversion rate is quite high up. So maybe it's 3 to 4%. The average for the industry is 1%. And we notice the problem is not the conversion side of the website. It's really the supply of opportunities coming in. So the website's fine. They need to fix other areas. You see, and
interesting.
And I guess the biggest problem with those clients' opportunities is they do not know what they need to fix when they come to us. And if we are not doing our due diligence and we just do what they say, right, it may be the wrong solution from the start, which leads to unhappy customers down the track. And that's why we're a big advocate of doing the workshop. We pretty much pull out all the skeletons from the closet. We can see, is it the supply side, is the website not converting, or you've got all the leads coming in but your salespeople are not getting back to them, you have no nurturing, there's no CRM. We will find something wrong with it. And we like to focus on the most impactful, the most urgent, and the most cost-effective tasks first. That's the best way of doing it.
Yeah, cool. All right, we'll wrap it up now. Now, I don't know if you actually listened to any of our previous episodes to the end.
We will now.
It's too late. We're about to ask you the final question.
Yeah, we always ask a whimsical question. So, you guys strike me as UFC fans, or wrestling fans.
I'm a UFC fan. I like
But
UFC.
the fighters, when they come out, the lights go down, the fog machines start, and their song starts. Right, their intro song that is the personification of them, or at least their character, and it introduces them to the crowd. What is your intro song?
Taylor Swift, Shake It Off. No,
Hey,
I'm joking.
You got to that pretty quickly. I think that's actually the
we'll
answer.
Was yours being EDM, Bernie? Was yours being EDM? Electronic? Raving song.
I'm a raver, man. Back in my younger days, typical Asian listening to trance, techno,
Metro City.
So boom, boom, boom.
I also was a raver, but I was a drum and bass.
Oh yeah.
Drum and bass.
Oh
that's pretty
yeah,
much
I love drum and bass. I would say trap music for me. I love the not trap as in not the Travis Scott trap, but the drum bass kind of trap.
Oh yeah,
Heavy on the drum and bass, the beats and all that.
Oh, you mean like bass and dubstep and hardcore, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that stuff.
Yeah,
I
cool.
like it. I like it. That would be it.
For an Angel, Paul and Zach for an Angel.
Okay.
All right, great.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
That was a hard decision. Right?
I knew it was going to be Paul Van Dyke because I think that was the
Van
name
Dyke.
you went to first. I was like,
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you.
All right.
Good
Thanks,
questions.
guys.
Good questions.
That's a real pleasure.
Thanks, guys.
You've made it to the end of another episode of Tech Society. Well, that was a great episode. I hope you enjoyed that as much as we enjoyed making it. Make sure you hit us up on Twitter @Tech Society, head over to the website, subscribe to the newsletter.
On this month in tech history, August 25th, 1991, Linus Torvalds posts a message to the internet newsgroup comp.os.minix with the famous subject line, "What would you like to see most in Minix?" This is the first announcement that he is working on an operating system that will one day become Linux.